Cheat Code.
Hey everyone, welcome to Pickleball Cheat Code, the show for competitive pickleball players who want to level up their game. We focus on advanced strategies for experienced players, stuff only the pros really know. I'm Brodie Smith. I'm a 5.5 level player and a coach, and I'm here with my co-host, Mr. Tanner Tomasi.
What's up, everyone?
Tanner is a 6.0 rated player and an APP gold medalist. Today, we're covering how to handle bangers. At the end of the episode, we're going to be giving Tanner a history of pickleball pop quiz. Get ready. You better know your stuff to see how much he really knows about the history of the game. We're working on a Q&A episode, but we need your questions. Leave us a voicemail at memo.fm/PCC. Tanner, I don't know about you, but bangers drive me nuts. They drive me nuts. Just know that if you're a banger in pickleball, I'm not a fan of you. I'm kidding. But Tanner, what were you going to say?
No, I hate playing against bangers or anything chaos is less preferred, probably for everybody. I think that's really how upsets happen. It's hard to upset a team if you're just playing,
I was going to say, it's the most common frustration, and there's no disrespect to bangers. No disrespect. You're playing the game. Don't hate the player, hate the game. I don't hate you. I hate how good you are at driving. Honestly, that's what it comes down to. And it's hard to deal with, and it's a skill to have. Maybe you're just a tennis player and you're coming through, but whatever it may be, it's the most common issue that I see across the board, especially with newer players coming in and some guys just hitting the shit out of the ball. People panic, people don't know what to do, and then it can cause chaos even at the pro level as well. So my question is, for you, who are some of the toughest bangers that you face today at the pro level? And then why does it make it so hard for you to deal with on average?
I think a really effective team is Eric Lang and Max Manthau, just because they both have really strong, fast drives that dip below the net. So you're volleying up on it a lot of the time, and then they just come in, crash, and the point's over in 3 seconds. Another great player, Patrick Kafka, really strong drive. When he's on, he's like the best player in the world. It's just really hard to handle fast drives. You have to be able to neutralize them and shut it down early, or they're going to do it for the whole match.
It's tough. Yeah, no, those are some good players that know how to really take lead there and dominate, especially just when it comes to drives. Even setting up that shake and bake a team where you have 2 people that are bangers, that's even the worst thing to deal with. So let's break down how to put these bangers to get their paddles back up in their hangers. Am I right? Is that good? Is that funny? Thank you. Yes. Okay. All right. Let's unpack this, Tanner. So number one, I think the most important thing, well, maybe I wouldn't say the most important thing, actually. One of the most important things is court positioning to be able to stop bangers. So depending on where they're hitting their drive and where you and your partner are situated can be one of the easiest ways to temper them and make sure that you have your angles cut off, because a lot of what bangers thrive on are their angles. So if you're getting a short serve return to the middle or to the side, that can really change how they hit their drive. For example, if you give a short serve return, which they love, that's the one thing to avoid. If it lands like short middle, that gives them a lot of options. And then if they want to drive middle, that's kind of hard to cover because you don't necessarily know who's going to take that ball. Versus if you return down either line, like closer to the right side or closer to the left side, it's a little bit easier for you and your partner to position more effectively. Reason being is if they're going to drive down the line, the partners that's covering line, they're able to make that their one job. I'm covering line. They have less angles to work with. And then your partner, their job is simply cover middle, right? So that's something that works really well from a court positioning perspective, but there's a lot to unpack there. So I don't know if you had any thoughts on that, Tanner, regarding court positioning aspect of handling bangers.
Yeah, I think something that's really relevant is something called but I called it the rope rule. So wherever you hit your return,
the robe rule?
Rope.
Got it. Go ahead.
Yeah, the rope rule. Wherever you hit your return of serve, you want to pretend like a rope is pulling you for your first 2 steps in the direction of the ball. So if you hit it to the back left corner and you're diagonal from the ball, your first 2 steps should be 2 steps in that direction where you hit it, because it's going to cover the most likely angles. If you run straight and the ball's in the back left corner, you're leaving the middle exposed. But if you run to the middle, you're leaving your sideline exposed,
Yep.
And then it's hard for them to hit a winner cross-court drive at you. And then to take that one step further, if you hit a return, this is more advanced, but if you hit a return to that back left corner, you're running to the line and say you're righty, whatever. You can sit and you're going to the middle of the court, leaving your sideline open. You can sit full backhand and cover the ball, cover the middle with only your backhand and not even have to worry about flipping open to your forehand. Because if it goes there, it's probably going out. So that's just something where it allows you to handle the drive, because you're only using one side of your paddle, instead of having to get caught flipping open.
That's huge. Yeah. I was going to break down the paddle positioning too. I think that is the part that's the most important, is your paddle positioning. So it's one of the players, obviously there's certain times in the game when you're a dink rally where you want to be kind of neutral, not just full backhand ready. For me, I'd probably be more forehand ready just because of my grip. But whatever's most comfortable for you, typically backhand ready is going to be always the best, because you can cover your whole left shoulder, your whole right shoulder, everything from your body. You can hit down on the ball, you can hit up on the ball. It covers a whole range. And then keeping that simplistic paddle positioning and just having it be ready, because you don't have reaction time. They're driving the ball 100 miles an hour at you. You have to have a simple paddle face that's going to be ready to block it, and just have your simple coverages.
Yeah, that's exactly it. Really, go. No.
I was just saying it for the serve return part too. I mean, this is super obvious, but making sure that, because the 2 parts that a banger thrives the most is on the serve, when they're serving and ripping a drive off their serve, or their serve return. Those are where, that's where they set the tone the most and where points can end the quickest. So in that regard, being able to return as deep as possible is all that matters. You don't need to get a ton of pace on the ball. The more pace, the better. But your pace matters depending on your speed as an athlete and as a person. If you can hit a line drive that goes at the very back foot of the court, and you can still get to the kitchen before that next ball is coming, so you're fully planted, then do that. If you're a little bit slower, hit a high moon ball return, whatever it takes for you to get as far as you can to that kitchen line and to be fully set. That's all that really matters. It's that depth and that timing. Maybe that ball lands 100 feet in the air and it bounces 50 feet in the air. It doesn't matter. If you're ready and locked in and that ball's further back enough, you're going to be set well enough. You just don't want to get caught in that transition zone moving in. That's what a banger wants to see, is you hit a line drive return, you're still moving. They can hit a drip drive, a full drive, and they can catch you off balance. Balance is the key to handling bangers. Any shot, volley. If you don't want to hit a reaching volley, you don't want to be swinging and leaning. That's where these pop-ups come in left and right.
Yeah, that's exactly it. If you're late running up to the kitchen line, I split step. I was
just about to say, if you are late, that's going to happen every once in a while. But like you said, early split step is all you need. And, you can be a couple feet off the kitchen line, but as long as you stop early and you're not taking any sort of off balance steps while you're trying to block a shot, that's the most important thing by far. So one of the key things that we touched on a bit ago was paddle positioning and how to get that paddle angle set up. So beyond going just backhand ready, what are some of the keys that you do to stop bangers from a technique standpoint with your grip and how you're angling your paddle face? Because I see you do this so well, and I've tried to hit speed ups on you and drives on you, and I feel like you're just a wall, and I hate it. And we'll test this out when we're playing in Chicago. But what are some of the things that you do to be that wall to really push people back?
I think I, like you said, I have a really stable base. If they drive it at my body, odds are the ball's going to dip. If it's at my chest or shoulders, it's going out. So if it's at my body, I'll try to handle it with 2 hands when they're driving it. That really allows me to really hit it solid. If I try to handle it with one hand, it often will float or fly out. When I use 2 hands, it's really strong. And then the main thing is...
So to drill on that more, so that's a good question. And I get that question a lot too. For me, I kind of have to be 2 hands just because of the way I grip the paddle. So how do you decide between 1 and 2 hands? Is it just when it's outside of your body versus in your body? It's as simple as that?
No, when it's in my body, if somebody's driving it and it's in my body or outside my body, I'm always going to use 2 hands for the most part. Mm-hmm. Basically anytime, and this is another good way to think of it, I'll like mix up or I'll switch it up doing this. But if I'm in motion, I'll always use two hands if I'm on the run. I'll never handle a drive with one hand on the run ever. If I'm stable at the net, feet planted, I will use one hand. But if I'm any but in motion, even a tad bit, always two.
Gotcha. That makes sense. And then what about some of the techniques that you have? Like, how do you know when to punch versus when to just block? And what are you doing with your elbows? Like, what does it look like from that side of the form?
I will, if I can like read the ball, like, and I can track it good, I'll always try to punch kind of like a counterattack just so it puts some pressure back on them.
Yeah.
With the actual form though, if you can't like read the ball or you can't punch it, the key that I'll have, like if I'm late getting up to the kitchen line, I'll do this. Instead of having my arm like close to my body and then like punching out like a counter, I'll have my arm like almost fully extended as the ball's approaching me. So like I can kind of just block it back and I'm not going to miss it. If you ever miss the ball from a banger into the net or long, it just means your timing is wrong. You're not.
I was about to say the timing is the hardest part with the banger. It's people try to take a paddle behind their body or way too far back, and then they're trying to time this perfectly compact shot where it needs to be preloaded. Your finish and your starting point should be the exact same. So when you're loading your backhand, don't load open and then try to close it and don't open it back behind you and then try to finish wide like a golf swing. You don't want to open up through it. We want to prep flat and like set it as a wall and finish through flat as a wall. You know what I mean? It's kind of like you're pushing a pizza box directly forward, if that makes any sense. But the point is, when you try to time it and a ball is coming at you flying and they're hitting that shot, if you're late and your paddle face is open, it's going left. If you're early, vice versa. But you get the point. If you're too early or too late, you're not going to be timing it right and the ball's going to be flying left and right. Versus it's very easy to be late and it's very easy to be early. So if we're timing that block and we keep it flat, we have nothing to worry about. Our margins are way wider for that block. From a mentality standpoint, like what is your goal on the court to handle these bangers? Because some people I see like they'll hit a chip shot to the middle. Some people I hear will try to do a drop shot and make them come into the kitchen, so they're forcing them to dink. What is your philosophy around that, and how do you like handle that going into a match when you know you're going to play somebody like Max and Eric, for example?
If I'm playing a team that I know is going to bang, I want to like shut it down early by like showing that they get punished for it and they're not rewarded. So they're not going to get lofty balls. They're not going to get errors. Like I'll really try to stick and hit the counters hard. Like, so it puts them off their back foot and in a really tight situation. If you show like there's teams, you kind of have to dissect each team. Like if I'm playing against a team and I know a team has a weak fourth, meaning I hit a third shot drive at them and they don't really have a good punch, it's pretty much free to get into the kitchen every time. So we'll just drive into that guy and get in because we're not getting punished. So I really think dissecting and kind of figuring it out is the best way to do it. But I always want to just punish the opponent and show them that the drive doesn't really give them any leeway.
Yeah. How do you handle situations where you are backhand ready? Because I notice this sometimes too. We were talking about how obviously that's the right thing to do is be backhand ready. But what if somebody's ripping it down your sideline, for example? Are you able to wrap it around, or are you sliding and still trying to cover backhand? Because I think there's two different options there, either open or body slide.
If I can read it, I'll open. Opening will always be my default. Like if I can read the ball, I'm going to open forehand, backhand, whatever it is. If I can't read it, I might slide into it. Meaning like if it's coming down my sideline and I can't flip open, I might try to just stick my body in front of it and hit the paddle, But the default is always to open just because you can hit it harder.
Yep. No, that makes sense. And then obviously just from that too, just keeping them back as much as possible. And I see a lot of times too, especially tennis players can be really good at volleying, really good at being a banger. But sometimes tennis players are the worst person at handling bangers, because I talked about this with Thomas Wilson in the last episode too, or 2 episodes ago, is that tennis players, luckily you and I don't have this problem because we're not OG tennis players that came into pickleball, is that they try to chop their volleys. That is the worst thing to do because that creates that pop-up for a shake and bake to happen. That's what a banger loves to see. Do not cut your volleys and don't hit that tennis cut volley. You have to hit flat or down on the ball for any of those shots. You don't need to get crazy topspin on it. You don't need to get this huge slice on it. Just keep them back with a flat downward punch. It doesn't need to be some crazy roll with any spin. Just simplify it, make it go down. That's just my number one thing.
Exactly.
And then the other thing too is that people panic and get really tense. And we talked about this too with speed ups, but coaching yourself and rewiring your brain to just fully relax is so, so vital. When I play against somebody that's like all antsy and they know a bang is coming and I'm about to rip a drive, that makes me happy because I know they're probably going to pop it up. When you jump and throw your whole body into it and you throw your legs into it and you get really tense, your shoulders raise, that's typically where people mess up all the time. If you're relaxed, if you relax and you're hitting that counter very calmly and you're letting your upper body do the work to hit that counter with a nice low athletic base without being overly tense, it makes that counter so much easier. I don't know if that's something that you do as well, but I feel like that's super important to note too.
Yeah, I try to stay loose, not overhit the ball.
Got to be loose.
Yeah, if you're tense, it's not going to go over well. I can guarantee that.
I think we talked about that drill too, and that's something to work on. If you want to drill that and get better at it, have somebody start close to you in the court. Maybe you stand at the kitchen line and they stand. It's that hammer time drill that we talked about. They stand in the middle of the court. Keep reminding yourself to be relaxed. You have to coach yourself, lower your shoulders, have them rip the hardest drives possible, and then slowly work their way back, and you'll notice how much easier it is. Or vice versa, have them start at the baseline where you're at the kitchen handling their drives, and then they have to work in closer and closer to you, working on that reaction time to make it so much easier when you're actually getting a drive in the match. Cool. And then the other thing is sometimes too, you might get a crazy good drive. You don't need to go for the big, huge counter, and you don't need to go for a huge pushback. I think it's very important. Just sometimes it's the same thing with the third shot drop. Like sometimes you just have to respect it. If you get a crazy good drive at you, respect the drive, let them come in. Sometimes you have to hit a little bit softer one and just focus on not getting a huge pop-up and not hitting it in the net. Just have that flat paddle with a two-hand backhand and just comfortably bunt it back. Worst case scenario, they come in and it's a dink battle, but that's the case sometimes. You got to respect players with really good drives.
No, nothing to add from me there.
And then how do you handle people that shake and bake though? Because that can be tricky with people that are bangers. When you're playing those double bangers, what's the easiest way for you and your opponent to handle that shake and bake combo? Because you can't necessarily just hit it deep, because if you do and you hit it a little bit high, the other player is coming in. So are you trying to go behind them? Are you trying to go away from them? Like, what's your philosophy around that, and how do you navigate that?
The first thing you want to do when you're playing against a team that shake and bake successfully a lot is first, if they're both right-handers, you want to return to the left side player, because then the right side player is going to have to push with their backhand. Oftentimes,
that's true.
Oftentimes, players won't think much about the return. They'll hit it to the right side player, and then the left side guy is able to come at you with their forehand, which could make things tough.
Smart.
The second thing is I try to go behind teams that shake and bake a lot, because it'll deter them from punishing, or it'll deter them from just running in full sprint a lot. If you try to get away from them, oftentimes the baker, for instance, will be able to catch up to the ball and still get a paddle on it and kind of cause chaos. But if you can get the ball down behind the opponent, it kind of forces them to stay in their lane. If you're able to do that once or twice, it'll shut it down entirely, or just keep them more on their side so you can go to the person who's further back.
That's smart. And I'm trying to think, wait, which one's the shaker and which one's the baker? Can you help me with that?
The shaker's the one driving. The baker would be the one.
That's what I thought. Okay.
Shake and bake. I guess that's just what
I mean, it makes the most sense, right? Because the baker's the one finishing it. The other one's just shaking it. They're getting ready to shake the chicken, and then you have to bake it, obviously. Okay. Yeah. Is there anything that we didn't cover there? I feel like we kind of nailed how to handle bangers and allowing them to go put their paddle up back in their hangers. Back to my hilarious joke that I told earlier. Is there anything else?
I think we got it all.
Let's go. Okay. Transition time. Let's wrap things up. As I mentioned, I prepared a 6-question history of pickleball quiz for you. So, if you don't do too hot, some people aren't going to be too happy with you. So you better do well here, Tanner. I'm expecting, I think you'll get 5 of 6 at least, but we'll see. If you get less than that, I'll be a little upset.
Okay.
Question 1. This is multiple choice, by the way. So let me read all 4. Pickleball was invented in what year? 1960, 1965, 1972, 1980.
Can I look it up or no?
Tanner, shut up.
I'm going to say 1965.
That's correct. That's a good guess. Proud of you. Where was pickleball invented in 1965? A, Miami, Florida. B, Bainbridge Island, Washington, C, Palm Springs, California, or D, Hilton Head, South Carolina?
Palm Springs, California.
No, incorrect. You said that with confidence too.
It's B. It was between B and C.
It's Bainbridge Island. It's my home state. Shout out my Washington homies. Yeah, that's I think I talked about this before. I had pickleball around me when I was in elementary school. Like it was I had it there. People didn't know the kitchen rules. We all use, I don't want to spoil my next question. Let me go to my next question. No, I'm you'll see why. The very first paddles were made from what material? A, graphite, B, wood, C, fiberglass, and D, true foam.
Probably true foam.
Yeah, exactly.
Wood.
Yeah, that's easy. Good. Okay. Which country outside the US was the first to adopt pickleball? A, Canada, B, Mexico, C, Australia, or D, Japan?
I have no clue.
Let's think logically here.
What's the things again?
What's the things? The things
are
Canada.
Question? I'm going to say Canada.
It's a good answer. Yes, correct. It's probably up in Vancouver, Washington, or Vancouver, Canada, because it's so close to the border there. Yes, correct. Well done. All right, last one. Who are the 3 co-creators of pickleball? A, Joel Pritchard, Bill Bell, and Barney McCallum. B, Steve Thompson, Kyle Jones, and CJ Brickerton. C, Donnie Picklestein, Carl Paddleman, and then Jimmy Ballmer. Or the last one is D, Rick Lobson, Chad Crosscourt, and Tony Dropper.
I feel like C and D seem like they're AI generated names, so I'm going to go with A.
That is correct. Joel Pritchard, Bill Bell, and Barney McCallum. Tanner, you went 5 for 6.
Were you doing AI names on that one?
Maybe.
Phil Dropperson?
It's just was that one of them?
I feel like it was Steve Dropperson. I'm like, there's no way.
Rick Lobson, Chad Cross, and Tony Dropper. Tony Dropper's a good name. That's
Tony Dropper. That would seem so fake.
I would not want to play against a Tony Dropper. I'd panic.
Right.
All right. At least he's not a banger, though. Okay. Well, that's a good way to wrap things up. Tanner, you went 5 for 6. I'm very proud of you. You know your pickleball history well. Disappointed in the Bainbridge Island, Washington question that you got wrong there. So we'll work on that. All right. But I'll see you in person soon. Looking forward to it.
Yes, sir.
All right. See you, Tan.